hit this button. And then so welcome to post-game lobby. Jason, welcome back. We'll do a proper intro. I'll eat my Subway for dinner. It's not a problem.
Cool. Alright, solid. Cool. Buzz people in.
Cool. You ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Alright, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, what's
And
up?
then I'll...
It's Jason, I'm a graphic designer, working in board games. And welcome to the post-game lobby featuring Keith and Jason. We're going to play the mine, and then how's it going? So yeah, still establishing the format. So essentially, we play a game and then have a big chat about that afterwards. I got a bunch of what's it called? Just thoughts and stuff, questions and stuff like that. Discussion topics, discussion points about this game, breaking down the design and stuff of it. Here we are. So should we? I don't know. Should we like teach the rules of it or something?
No.
Just play it.
No. What's important is the breakdown at the end. There's plenty of let's plays. There's plenty of how to plays. There's plenty of discussions on how these games work and stuff like that. But what we want to be focusing on is our experience of the game, and talking about like the designer's journey and what kind of choices they made and what we think would have made things different, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. So we assume everyone already knows the rules of it, and like we did, they played the game a week beforehand, and
which is I think what we should be doing sometimes, but it depends on what it is, because we're always going to have this time slot last Tuesday of the month, right before Tabletop Tuesday, to do the podcast. But we might play a game off camera and come and just do the discussion.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be cool, because then we can get more people involved as well with that, just by turn them, like I said, the vision of this, like I just want this to be like a book club almost. Kind of thing, where like you read the book beforehand and then you're here to.
That's it. That's the idea. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So we've played this once before together when we did the camera test, which was also live, and you can find that in the VODs. But I've also only played this 1 or 2 times before. I'm remarkably average at it. I think we did okay. We didn't win. We got like halfway or something.
Yeah, it was great. I think that was great for our first. That was great for our first time. I've had worse. I've had people fail in like to level 2, level 3. Yeah. Alrighty. Love these cards.
I actually designed a game using this game that I want to play sometimes.
Nice. I have a dream of designing a game that's just that says this card's just number 1 to 100.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I was actually talking to a friend. I want to do a game design contest where you have to use the components of an existing game. I think that would be really cool.
That'd be cool. Actually, there's a project in mind that I'm doing about that kind of thing. I want to make a board game for a game that doesn't exist, and then after it's done, just make like 50 of them or something like that, and give them out to designers. Like, hey, make a game.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You ready? We're gonna sync up.
Can you sync up? Hey.
It's awkward because it feels like it's not just you and me syncing up, it's you, me, and the camera syncing up.
We're all syncing up. We need a chat. We need to sync up. We need to sync up together.
Yeah.
We're syncing up together. You are part of the mind. We kind of, imagine like live stream playing this with someone else.
On Zoom. That'll be hard.
Somehow you can have it like no lag.
2 copies of the game.
2 copies of the game and like no lag. That'll be
I get evens, you get odds or something.
Let's resync here. Oh wait, that's why we didn't. We're level 2 now. All right. Good thing. Good resync. Good resync. All right, hey, we get a ninja star.
11-12. That's good.
Yeah, 11-12. Take 100. What are the odds of that?
Low.
Actually, we probably close the door.
Why?
Because there's people working.
Let them come hang out. I don't care. Let them come hang out.
No, like we don't want to disturb them.
Oh, we're plugging in. So
Yeah, because we got meetings and stuff. All that guys in the meeting.
So we're in the Games Plus, what do you call this, studio, hot desk, arena.
Boardroom.
Well, this room is the boardroom. What's the office called?
Just Games Plus. Game Plus.
We're in Games Plus.
We're in Game Plus. Game Plus Sydney.
Yeah. It's actually a really cool space. I've been here a few times before for board game events and a few industry events as well. And it's cool that we get to actually use this space to do stuff like our podcast.
Yeah, and they're super supportive about this whole thing as well. Like, yeah, giving space for free, hosting and all that. And then, like, every time I hit them up for, like, if I need help for something, then they're keen to do it as well. So, yeah, they're big sponsors of, like, the Good Time event. And they're keen to do more board gaming stuff. Did it? Hey, we did a live.
Wow, that wasn't bad. No errors.
No errors. Perfect run. It's the perfect game.
Are we soulmates? Is that what just happened?
I think so. It's the thing. It's like how I present this game, especially with, like, teaching to someone who's like a couple. I was like, alright, if you beat this game, you can get married.
I like that. That's cute.
We're just in sync with our minds, the chat, one viewer.
One viewer. It might be us actually.
Is that one viewer or is it?
It's hard to say.
Okay. Alright, level 4.
Because if you have a look, users in chat, there's actually a shitload of people.
We've got a mod.
But we have one viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stream Elements. That's the program we're running on.
Are you the only mod?
Is whenever you install bots or whatever, they have to be moderators.
Alrighty. Close. Oh, hey,
So
you get to finish it off.
We lose the thing and I just
lose the life.
play on my cards.
Play all your cards.
So that's not so bad.
So bad. And we beat level.
Whatever, you know.
Level
What did
5.
we get to before?
6 or something.
Sounds about right. Somebody Crusader's gonna get in.
Don't know. Check. I'm busy. You've taken like a casino course?
I have not. The croupier thing. I have friends that have done it and have worked in there for a little while, and I've thought about it, but
I don't want to work.
I can't even do that. My roommate, whenever we play cards, we play a lot of Magic. He'll do that, and he'll be like, "Go on." I'm like, "I can't. I'm too special. Don't bully me. I'm fragile."
2, 4, 2.
Yeah, I buzzed in when I got here, and no one replied. No one responded.
Because there's no front of the house. Well, I heard the buzz, but like,
Oh,
I was in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen getting a cup of water. I just literally got here. Yeah, there's no front of house, so I can buzz people
I
in.
guess if we hear it, we can.
Yeah, we can hit the button, or they have to message us on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, when I came here the other day, I went to the wrong floor. I got off at the 3rd floor and wandered around for a while first before I came.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Alright. I'm inside you. Inside your mind. This
Why are you playing fast? You gotta play it fast.
I was trying.
Idiot.
I'm right-handed, and I sync up with my right hand.
Alright, sync up, sync up.
You're killing me.
Killing it.
It's always so
It's
close.
Alright, we're on to 56. Alright.
Yeah, boy.
You have 9900?
91, 98.
91.
91.
You were so confident on 91.
I was really confident on 91.
Hey, we get another 2.
So how do we use the shurikens again? That's where we
just
put
like
a random card or something?
No, you throw out the lowest card.
The next card, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We haven't used any. I think we should use all of them right now.
We can. That's actually a discussion point I want to have with you at the end of it. I don't like shurikens.
You don't like them?
No.
The first time I played, we didn't use them at all. I think we just forgot. And then the second time, we didn't use it strategically.
Save that. Save it for the post game.
Alright.
I'll be discussion. Actually, you wanna? I think Chris messaged something. You wanna say something? I think I wrote something stupid. I was like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, they buzz. Then yeah, we can buzz them in. I'm gonna have to walk up 4 flights of stairs.
Same thing he said when I last checked my account. I did put instructions on the event to type and press the bell on the keypad to get buzzed in. That's what he said to me. Unless if it's just your Tinder popping off or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, so long as it's on. Alright. Cool. Let's do it. Level 6.
6 cards.
4, 5, 6.
That's it. Why did I always know?
Oh, we're just not in.
No.
Not happening.
So close.
Oh, good. Alright, we're on 30.
I put my hand up to say I want to use a shuriken. If that's right?
Yeah, you hand up or whatever, I'll just point at it or whatever. Alright, ready? Go ahead. Go ahead. Sure, I mean,
It's free.
if you want, okay.
Yeah, you might as well.
Alright.
You literally can't fuck it
Just
up.
letting you know that's just a weak move.
Not necessarily. I had 94. That's okay. It guarantees me to get past the round.
Yeah, level 7. Level 7,
It's a tough
2
one.
lives.
This game's hard.
Shurikens.
I don't have a mind. That's why it's so difficult.
Have you beaten this game?
No, definitely not. But I've beaten Hanabi. And I think Hanabi is also difficult in that same cooperative way.
No.
You don't think so?
Hanabi's a logic deduction puzzle game. This is not. This is the power of the mind.
Interesting. I think we disagree on that. We'll get into that later.
Get into that. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You serious?
Alright. Yes!
Wow.
Alright. Late.
You really hate shuriken, don't you?
Hmm?
I feel like there was a few moments there where I would have not been able to use it.
You should have put your hand up.
Yeah, but I thought I was okay, but I didn't know what you were doing.
That's fine.
You seem pretty confident about it.
I believe.
Actually.
You don't believe in us, but you don't believe in us. You really don't mind. Alrighty.
Wait, how many levels are there?
8. 12.
12. Oh,
And then the bonus levels.
I don't want to do bonus levels. We don't have time for that shit.
6. 8.
Is it your raise or my raise? You need a small blind, a big one.
Like that, eh?
Are you serious? No! I'm so shit at the early games.
I think it's because that one time that you just like had a one, but you didn't play it. I think I was like, oh, that's the thing.
Got in my head about it. I think we did good though. I think we did okay.
We did good. We got ourselves late. I mean, I've had worse games.
True.
Speaking of which, what's the worst game that you had of the mind?
Of the mind?
What level did you make it? Because you've never beaten the game, eh?
I've never beaten the game. I honestly think level no, I don't think we beat the game, but we got pretty high. We got like 9 or 10, I think is my best. I don't remember what my worst was.
Very good. Because yeah, I've been there multiple times.
So I think the secret was, when we did well, we played it slow, and we were listening to music at the same time, which I think is cheating a little bit. And I don't know, we were on fire that day or something. It was me, my partner, her friend, and one other person. So it was a 4-player game, which I think is harder than 2 players.
Yeah, I think if you beat level 8 in a 4-player game or something, it says you won the game or something.
Oh shit!
So you technically beaten the game, I think. Let me check that. 4-player, 1 to 8 levels. Yeah.
Oh my god!
So you were playing the bonus rounds of that.
Yeah. So I want to circle back to first the Hanabi comment. So I think that's hot.
Sure, let's talk about that.
So you disagree with me about that same kind of guesswork co-op thing. For me, I think that when you're given a clue by your opponent, the person you're playing with, right? I've played in groups where they're like, if we give you this type of clue, it means this thing, which is not what they're telling you. Like, it's subtext.
Yeah.
Like, if I've given you a clue about this one card, that means play it. Okay. Whereas I've heard other people that don't do that, and there's sort of I'm trying to figure out what the fuck the other person is trying to tell me, which for me is really hard. Yeah. Right. So I think there's that same kind of level of trying to figure out what the other person is saying, because they can only say so little to you, which
but then at
feels
the same time,
to me.
yeah. But at the same time, Hanabi is a logical deduction game. At the same time, about that, yes, there's communications stuff into that game where you can signal and do all sorts of stuff. But whereas whereas mine, there is no certain. I mean, there's logic to an extent, I suppose, but it's not it's not in the same level as Hanabi. Whereas it's purely a logical deduction game where where the rules are really even more so with this game as well.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting because this is the game that I think one of the first games that actually it's definitely the game that was like, oh wow, board games are really interesting because before that I played Ticket to Ride and all that stuff like that, and I was thinking a board game purely as a sense of there's all these rules you have to follow in order for us to play. To have a good time, we have to play by the rules. And stick by
those ones that you just name dropped feel very similar in a category, even though they are relatively gateway.
Yeah, but then this was the first time where the rules are really slippery, and the rule here was you can't communicate. It's just the communication rule. Just you just can't communicate. That's all it says. You just can't communicate.
For me, I had something similar with Love Letter. Love Letter and Coup were kind of my gateways to beyond, introductory board gaming. And there's a line in the Love Letter rulebook which says, it's in regards to people that cheat at games like this, and it's don't do that because no one wants friends like that. They're basically just it's a really basic card game. Yeah. You're doing this for fun. Don't play with people that would cheat at something like this. And I thought that was really interesting because it wasn't this is a solution. It was just that's dumb. Why would you do that? And I think some of the mind has that as well. It's here is a thing that is for you to have fun. This is the point. Imagine playing games for fun, right? and it's basically saying you use this to have fun with your friends.
Yeah,
I don't care how closely you follow it. And I guess the same spirit is in house ruling Monopoly. Or if we sat down and house ruled Catan or something like that, the object is to take the thing that you've got of the experience that I've delivered to you and use that however is appropriate to you to have fun with your friends.
Yes, but house rules are made up rules that you add in addition to the rules, whereas the mine, all it says is just no consultation. That's what it says in the rule book, and how we interpret that is...
Yeah, but if you winked at me or something, and I said, don't do that, that's us establishing a house rule.
Yeah.
Well, or if I sat there and I tapped a metronome and you're bro, that's cheating, stuff like that, it would be us entering a dialogue as to what is appropriate or not appropriate, and us developing a meta, so to say, what the rules are, even though it is relatively loose. But in some groups, they might want it to be super loose, or they might want to cheat as much as they want to still have fun, if you're playing with a kid.
Yeah, true. That too. There's rules are just a framework for you to build the experience and fun with out of that, I suppose. But I don't know, it feels different than a house rule though, because it's not a...
Well, a house rule is an amendment to usually remove something that is unfun in a game. And I think this is similar. It's like a session zero. It's where you and the other players of the game have a discussion about what we're going to do to make sure that we know what kind of experience people are going to have of the game. And I think that is pretty applicable here. I think that's pretty similar to what we're looking at. Even though it's probably unsaid.
Yeah. Well, are we playing... Yeah. Well, I guess, are we playing the game right? Or, how do you know if you're playing the game right? It's
you're having fun. I know that's the stupidest answer, but that's the point. That's true, yeah. Right? I criticize myself a lot for this all the time because something will happen, usually in a video game, something will happen, I'll recognize that my behavior is not conducive to having fun, or I have bad habits about gaming, or I'm burning out, I'm doing it too much, something like this. I'm approaching it from a non-constructive point of view, and this is pretty common for games like League of Legends. This sucked, I can't believe they did this with this character or whatever, and it removes the fun from the game away because you're focusing on this negative aspect of it. And I make the joke where it's imagine playing games for fun, and that's what you're supposed to be doing, all right? It doesn't matter imagine if we were doing it completely wrong, but we were still having fun. Because I think here's a cool example. When I first learned to play Carcassonne, we misunderstood the rules. We were doing it completely wrong, and so that developed a strategy meta for what we were supposed to be doing. That was pervasive for a long time, and we didn't realize it was wrong until years later. And then we were okay, that makes so much sense because what we were doing was insane. Basically, the farmers would score over 100 points at the end of the game.
No one knows what the farmers are.
It was crazy. You would get 1 point per tile that the farm was connected to instead of completed in castle. I think it is supposed to be, and so the entire game you were fighting to have the largest swath of farmland, like from the first tile.
Yeah,
you know?
So you changed the game.
Yeah, and then when we realised, we basically had to house rule it to play the official rule set.
Yeah.
And so how is that different? You know, we had the conversation about how we're actually supposed to play the game. Well, the same thing happened with Azul. My parents were doing this thing where they would grab some, and instead of the excess becoming drop tiles, they'd be like, oh, let's put that onto this other thing.
Yeah.
And that removing that stress of punishment from it might make the game more fun for them, or like if they were playing with a small child, that it feels bad when bad things happen and they just want to focus on building the pretty patterns, and that's fine, you know what I mean? But then I came and played with them and I'm like, I'm here to win, I want to kick your ass, I love this game, I'm very good at it, here's what we're going to do. And then they made a move and I'm like, you can't do that. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's in the rule book, this is how it's supposed to be, drop tiles, that's what this whole row is for. And they're like, what? And I think that everyone having an understanding of how the game is supposed to be played is more important than what the game says about how it's supposed to be played.
Okay.
I know that was a long walk to get to that point, but
no, but that's what makes board games interesting in the sense that, like that, yeah.
Because that's
the rules are there.
what Dungeons and Dragons is, right? Dungeons and Dragons is nothing but a communication between the DM and the party.
Yeah. Well, it's a role playing. Role-playing games are quite different from like a tabletop game in the sense like that, because it's narrative. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons is more like narrative focus. You're building a story necessarily.
Yeah, but from memory, in Dungeons and Dragons, there's there's the rule of cool. There's a paragraph in there where he's literally like, do whatever you want. If you think making a choice that goes against the rules is going to be more fun for your players, do that. And I think that's the approach that all gaming should be taken through. And video games are a shitty comparison because you can't do that. You as a player very rarely can just be like, you know what, we're going to ignore this, or we're going to change this so this works how I want. But in board games, you can do whatever you want. You've just been delivered the components. You are assembling the game by playing it as told by the rules. So if you say, this is how we're going to do it, then it's whatever you want.
So remember this really great quote. It's just like video games have laws and board games have rules. Where it's like you can't break the laws, but you can break rules.
Yeah, exactly.
But so another discussion topic I want to talk about is the theme of the game.
Yes.
How do you feel about the theme of the rabbit?
The rabbits and the shurikens.
Called the mine, the shurikens. Does it make and then the rabbit, as you ascended, is suddenly become
more ninja or whatever.
Or no, you become
stranger.
Oh wait, that's level 1. Sorry, that's how you start. This is how this is how you end. Just like
can't really see it. Put it down here. I can't really see it.
You just die.
Oh.
Eventually you become a head, and then you become.
Oh, you die.
Yeah, or something.
Okay,
that's what happens when we beat the game.
You transcend corporeal form and just become the mind.
You just become the mind as a rabbit with shurikens.
Honestly, I don't think you needed it. I think they could have stripped that out entirely. I think they could have gotten rid of the rabbits, and I think they could have gotten rid of the ninja stuff. So, I'm curious to know how many of the people that have played this game are under the age of 15. Because in theory, that's what this design is for.
Well, it says A+ on the box.
Yeah, but I play with Legos. That's just the minimum recommended. I'm curious as to what the actual market breakdown is. Not that I think that will make much of a difference in my thoughts, but I feel like you could have stripped out that thing entirely and just made it just abstract. I guess it is kind of abstract already, but
it's abstract. Could
be more abstract.
More abstract. But what makes it like more of a game, I suppose, is that like it's got this level system here of like progressing, like sort of like a video game. You have lives, you have tools, things like that, and you have to beat a level. One of my friends like suggested that like this like when I taught her the game, she's said that like this will be this. I can see this as like a Russian folk game that they played with a deck of cards and in a prison, and this is how they and they didn't have any lives, so it was just purely like, all right, you beat one level, here's 2 cards, 3 cards, kind of thing like that.
You start again.
Yeah, but there's clearly a design decision to do all this of having a level system, having a
Have you played Phase 10?
No, I have not.
So Phase 10, basically all the cards are numbers, but it's like 1 to 12, and you're building sets and runs and stuff like that. but what you have to do each round is listed on a reminder card. And like the first one is 2 sets of 3 or something, and they get increasingly more difficult. And that is the only component in the game that tells you where you are when you're doing. And that's really no different than this, but it's all on a single card. So you could have stripped out all of this, and you could have had just one card that was like level 1, 1 card each. Level 2, 2 cards each. And then it's like what? Level 8, if you have 4 players, you just won the game.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And here's your shurikens or whatever. You turn the card over and something like that. And they could have stripped it all back and made it just one card where it was like that. And I think Phase 10 being a very, very old game, in a way probably was expected to be more there. Because like there's a lot of other similar stuff. Like for example, it's just cards that play.
Yeah, it's an abstract game. But would the mind be better off for that? Or like, is it better off for this thing? Also, do you know the story behind the thing?
Yeah, you told me last time.
I told you last time? Okay. Oh yeah.
But so I think
it was something that was I'll just reiterate it a little bit in the game.
Yeah,
it was like something early on in the development cycle of it that like there was a theme to this game. The game wasn't called The Mind. The game was called Ninja Fighting Mind Rabbits or something like that. That's why it had the bunny rabbit theme. That's why there's shurikens involved like that. But I guess later on in the development kept the art and just called it The Mind for some reason. So
I think when the publisher got a hold of it, they're probably like, actually,
or something like that, and happy with
Yeah.
that. But I don't know. Would it be if this was just purely an abstract game? Like, would it?
I think it would appeal to me specifically more if that was the case.
Yeah.
So that's why I ask about the age breakdown, because if they knew that their target market was heavily parents playing with their kids, then yes, this makes much more sense to me.
Sure. Even though there's no in the rules when you describe it, there's no what do you call it? Because normally the theme of the game helps with teaching the rules of it, whereas in this game the theme has nothing to do with the game, and the shurikens are just even more confusing.
I guess.
To that point.
I mean, I imagine the original design had that target market in mind, and then a publisher has come along to it, and then gone, actually, we could probably make it a bit broader, strip out some of these things, change the name, it's a bit more broad or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Ben Walsh, if you're in the chat, let us know.
Let us know.
But because for me, I would love it if I can create a version of just it's just cards, just number 1 to 100 on instead of a 52 deck of playing cards, but just number 1 to 100.
Yeah.
Have a game.
And that would be fine. I think it's the same experience somewhat. And I think that's the thing. So if the prime target market was parents playing with their kids or was aimed at kids, then this move makes a lot of sense. But if the prime target market is more hobby gamers, the kind of people that are buying stuff from Kickstarter, then this makes no sense to me. It should be more abstract. I find that a lot. I find that there's a big split between that, where you've got mass market and you've got hobby Kickstarter. And hobby Kickstarter teeters heavily towards bloated with miniatures, the box is big enough to fit me in it.
Yeah, it's overused.
And it looks like a lot of value in a box. Whereas mass market stuff shows up in Big W, Target, Walmart, whatever.
Yeah, maybe cost efficient.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell they all feel really similar. They all feel specifically marketed at kids to be played with parents. Like Battleship is a really good example. Because I don't think Battleship is an easy game for 2 kids to pick up and play without a parent. I mean younger kids.
Sure.
But if somebody showed it to you, you pick it up instantly. It's really straightforward. But I think figuring it out on your own would be really hard. Whereas this, figuring it out on your own, what the fuck do these cards do? I don't understand. But then someone showing you is very different. And I think that's where the parent and the kid thing works. But then if you're doing it like a hobby game, they're expecting a kilometer long rule book, they're expecting all these extra components, all this extra art and all this other stuff that feels like value. And you could have added, they probably would have expected you to add, imagine all the stretch goals to this game would be 50 more cards, 101 to 150 or some shit like that.
Miniatures, this first player starting token for no reason.
Yeah, and I think that trying to gauge where their intentions were on that. It's probably a slider more than a 2 bucket thing, and it feels like it was it was really far to one side, and they've moved it towards the middle. Right? So it feels like it was really, really far over in mass market, and they've moved it towards being able to appeal to both groups.
Right. Okay. But that through that you got all that through the theme alone, or through
the fact that the theme changed to be more, I want to say palatable, but I think that's probably not right.
Yeah.
Be more generic, also not correct. To be less themey, to be more the mind, and less ninja samurai bunny, or whatever it was called.
So, speaking of the ninja samurai buddy thingy, so these shurikens, how do you feel? So yeah, as a game mechanic, how do you feel about that?
Well, it would make more sense if it was a shield or something. Right? This is the thing that you use to stop you from losing a life, which in symbology is not a shuriken. That's like an attack or something. So I think in symbology alone it doesn't make any sense. But the excuse for that would be is if it fits the theme really correctly. And then through the theme you understand why it exists. But I don't think that's there either. So I just think it doesn't really make any sense.
Outside of theming as a game mechanic on its own, how do you feel about that? Because for me, I've got feelings about that because I personally don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's weird to teach.
Yes.
It's just a weird thing to teach as well like that. It's like, oh yeah, no, we can just stop and just, get rid of the lowest card in your hand and we can play on and stuff like that. It just feels like an unnecessary rule.
I
don't understand why, I'm not even for 4 players or whatever. I feel like the game should have just been just play a card.
Yeah.
Kind of anything like that. And then otherwise, if we do the shurikens, you're missing out on those epic moments of just oh, I can't believe you made that jump or whatever.
Yeah. Because that happened a bunch of
the risk
times.
reward and stuff like that. So I'd rather the game with the game didn't come without wasn't there. Plus it wouldn't having the esoteric thing as well would be gone from that. So I'd rather just play the card, but it's intentionally there. I understand why it's there because there'll be moments especially if you're I don't know, new to the game or whatever, that you're I don't know what to do.
Or you're a young kid. I think this could have been something that was added in so that it felt easier for a younger audience. So there's less pressure on them to get it right every time.
Well, does this make it more of a game by adding this in? Actually, so just overall kind of thing that, because when this first came out, a lot of people online, especially on BGG and stuff, were just going oh, this is not a game. This is just an activity or whatever. That's a stupid. I don't really care about the distinction of that. But if it was just an app, just figure cards on 100, and that's something that we do, is that any more or less of a game than
an
adding?
activity. That's interesting.
Then adding all those.
I like how
adding
people encountered this in the wild, and they say there's not enough of it there to be a game, and then you're sitting here going, I wish there was less. I wish they took this out.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting perspective. On the shuriken, I think for 2 players it doesn't make a lot of sense. For 4 players it can get really tense when you have a big hand size and you're a bit lost where everyone is.
Still just play your card.
Yeah. And so I can understand it being there. When I did play with a big group, we did use it to good effect. But I can also understand it not being there. I think it's training wheels that you should be able to choose to use or not. And that's a session 0 thing. Where you go, no, we're not going to use shuriken, fuck them, and that's fine. But then, I don't know, I don't think it's an activity, honestly. Just because what is a game, right? Scissors, Paper, Rock is a game, and that's nothing.
No, but there's clearly defined rules with that. There's from traditional, what's it called?
Game theory.
Game theory notion.
There's
a
victory and a loss condition.
We can lose.
This is the same thing. How is this any less game than Scissors, Paper, Rock? Because there's a winner and there's a loser, and the winner is either us or the loser is either us collectively. So I don't think it's any less of a game than Scissors, Paper, Rock, right?
But then you can argue that. A lot of people argue that.
I don't see this being an activity. It's not a colouring in book. This is not. This is not K-Nex.
There's already a predefined goal, and there's like that. Some traditional.
Even if you strip some of it out, even if you play it half-assed, even if you cheat a lot, I don't think. Wow, that was really strange. I don't think that's a thing.
I think it's an interesting philosophical discussion, but it's just completely pointless. So I think
it's an interesting criticism. Maybe that is a hobby gamer expecting more out of a mass market game.
Or just like card game in general.
Yeah. Because like I imagine.
Well, but yeah, like if the game was just like a deck of cards on 100, is that enough? Yeah, like we were discussing earlier, is that enough for it to be a game and be?
Yeah, I have that qualm a lot. If something as a product, regardless of if it's a game, if something as a product can be wholly used by something else, or you can buy something else and use it as that product, then what's the point of you selling this thing? So imagine if there was a lot of games that had a card set 1 to 100. Then why buy the mine? Because I can own something else and I can just use those cards. And I see that same argument pop up when it comes to role-playing games that use a deck of 52 and stuff like that. And they're like, they sell the deck of 52 and you're like, sure, it has nice art on it and it's immersive and thematic, however you want to argue that it should exist. But I can just use anything. I can get a $2 pack of bicycle cards and use those.
Yeah.
And I think we could do that. You get 2 packs of cards, take out 4 of them.
Yeah, you can.
Know what the order looks like, or write 1 to 100 on them, and it's fine. You could write on the back of Magic card, classic proxy, and proxy up a deck of the mine for nothing. Magic cards have no value. And that would also just work. But in that same argument, you can do that for a lot of games.
Yeah.
You could print and play basically anything these days. You can print and play Catan.
Yeah.
With the 3D printer.
But no, the product value of the game, like, actually, I was gonna bring this up with another game later on. For another tabletop session of that, because I might as well talk about it here. It's like, I remember when Fake Artist in New York came out.
Did it just close? I just realized it.
Oh no!
What?
Did you close it?
Are you kidding? Where'd it go?
Oh no! Open up Streamlabs.
It's still going.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck was that?
It's weird. Oh, we're still live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
Is it going to do that again? Why doesn't it go to tray? That's super weird.
It's weird.
I want to go to this. I want to turn it so that it doesn't turn off. Do you know what that button is?
Display.
Power and sleep.
Yeah.
Just never.
Never.
And you can change these after.
Sure.
Okay.
Alright.
Then now it's open up Streamlabs. That was weird as hell.
It's weird.
Panic moment. Anyway.
The product value of the game, is almost like what's it called? Like, I feel like personally there's there's enough value in a game for it to just be simply a deck of cards or just numbered 1 to 100. Like, yeah, sure, you can make it something like that.
It's selling.
You're selling experience. You're not selling the game product itself. Because, like I said, you can just make it itself. Remember when Fake Artist in New York came out? A lot of people were like, I can just make this. I can just download the rules and just make a game. Just like buying $2 pens and stuff like that.
I said the same thing about Bottom of the Clock Tower. Right, Bottom of the Clock Tower is a $130 game that has thousands of really high quality components. But I've run a game using a notepad on my phone. Where I write down what the players' characters are. I already know the order of the night sheet. I know what all the characters do. And then I run the game just like my phone. And if I could remember what everyone was all the time, then I wouldn't even need to do that. I just run everything in my head.
You can,
And the same goes for Werewolf, the same goes for a lot of these kind of games.
For anything, if you really want to, any big board game, you can just make it yourself if you really want to, and stuff like that. But you're not, but you're buying an experience, buying all that. So like,
you're buying an experience and you're putting money into an industry that guarantees more of these things to exist in the future. And I think that is something that you can't get from a lot of other products. Like if I buy, for example, Axe body spray, that's probably not going to guarantee whether or not that thing's going to exist forever, right? But if I'm buying games that have been developed in Australia or whatever, if you buy a game that I made, that helps me directly continue to do that. Because a lot of these people, a lot of these companies, especially coming out of the pandemic, are like really hanging on by a thread and spending the money and supporting that regardless of how much you see the perceived value. And it has this other hidden thing where you're investing in the future you want to see. in a way, and that comes into how Kickstarter works, where Kickstarter says invest in this or it doesn't exist, and that exists for every single board game in a way that we don't see in the same way. And I think that doesn't happen for a lot of other projects because this is art, right? And if we don't fund art, no one fucking funds art, right? The government doesn't, big business doesn't, and so then it won't exist. And the argument that you can play this without it existing, just having your own deck of cards, is valid. But that might mean that Wolfgang Wash might never make another game, and then we might miss out on something that could have been better or cooler than this. And I think that's the thing I'm more worried about.
Sure. I think we pivoted from the original topic of that because, like, I was just saying, like, oh no, we can just get rid of all this and have a deck of cards. I'll buy that.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I think there's a lot of other games I think as a product you could have the 100 deck of cards and you say here's a few games that you could play with them, which adds value to the box. I think that's also fine because you could have the mine, you could have Skipper or whatever, add just like a bunch of other shit in there and say this is a collection of games. And I think that would also be fine because that's the adding value that the hobby customers are expecting. The mass market people are not. I don't think. Mass market people expect to see what's on the box.
I don't know. I disagree about that. Mass market, because I think the mass market, especially since like a lot of them don't have, this might be like the first game experience that they have or something like that. Maybe something with the TV, not with the laptop.
Okay.
But yeah, so the mass market would have that. There's certain qualities of the production that helps it. Like for example, in this version here, I like the NSV version, the original version, because they have living finished cards.
Yes,
and
I was going to mention
version
that.
of it doesn't have I think Panasonic or something like that doesn't have living finished cards, and living finished cards is just, to me, I like to feel it a lot more. And when I played this game for the first time with someone who never played games regularly or anything like that, that was like the first thing they mentioned. I was like, wow, this card is like really high quality.
Yeah, living finish is a considered, I can't think of the word, like a prestige.
It's like a luxury almost thing.
Yeah. It's usually a stretch goal to get upgraded component quality to living finish, which I think is kind of cool. I noticed that immediately about it, but obviously being in the industry, I have an eye for that. So
like you don't notice it until you do notice it.
Newer or older? Older, right?
Older. It's the German publishers of it.
Yeah. Have you played against Sean Clever?
Yes, I have.
Because that
same design.
Same a lot.
Yeah, well, same publisher, same designer.
Yeah.
Actually, no, different publisher, I think. Same designer.
Same designer.
Yeah. Very German. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. From a small box card game, there's like a lot of talking points about it. That I'm always thinking like that.
We can talk all this shit about it. Just add. So
but no, there's a lot of design choices that I think that makes this game really interesting. Like especially I can go on about that in no communication rule forever and ever, and then like this leveling system, I think it's interesting. Like I don't think it's necessary. It's
a reminder to how many cards you're supposed to have in your hand, and how far away you are from making game.
No, but not just that, but also how it progresses through the rewards you get from stuff like that.
Extra lives and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like level 1, you get nothing for it. Level 2, 3, and then I think the pattern goes like you get a shuriken.
Small.
So bring it around the size.
See at the bottom there's that shuriken icon.
Yeah, there's definitely this intentionality behind the level 9, level 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so
no lives towards the end.
You get no lives towards the end, so you can only get that much there. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that level 2 you get rewarded with shuriken first instead of a life first, especially if you play this game brand new for the first time. Like you're probably going to lose a life because you don't know what you're doing with the first one. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting design choice that they made to do that.
My other thing is that I don't like the art. I don't like the art.
No, I don't like the art. I just wish it was, I just don't understand this game.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're not German enough to get
We're not German enough.
Crazy.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I wonder if like there was is there a better theme for this game?
I don't know. I think abstract would be where I would go. What is it?
So would this game just be better if they focus on just like a deck of cards, and then just make those cards really pretty? Or
maybe.
like that.
I think that would be my preference. Sorry, I'm tinkering again.
Oh,
maybe I fixed it. Fuck knows.
Who knows?
We're at 50 minutes.
Cool.
Did you want to end the podcast there?
Yeah, sure. That sounds like a good. Yeah, sounds good.
We'll leave it running, but we can do some other stuff. See where Chris is at, because it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock now.
And other people should be starting shopping. We kind of want to have that.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching.
The post-game lobby
Featuring
for now.
Keith.
Legally distinct post-game lobby. We'll come up with a new name for later, but this is what we're hoping to do once a month, twice a month.
Yeah, hopefully chat can also get involved in the game as well. Maybe we can advertise the game beforehand or something like that. So
I want to do Subby Taylor for the next one.
Mateo?
Subby Taylor.
Oh right, yeah, sure. How are we going to film that?
Well, I think we would have. It wouldn't be live, I don't think. I think we would film us playing the game, cut a B-roll, play the B-roll, and then talk over it, and then cut back between the two cams, the B-roll. That might be when we record it at my house or something. But I think that will be really interesting. Because I really want to hear your thoughts on Subiteo versus Class when it comes to design. Because I feel like they're very similar.
Yeah. Dexterity games.
So
we'll see.
That's what I was really keen. I talked to them ages ago, looking to play it, and it was on last Tuesday or something.
Next month. Yeah.
So yeah, next month maybe that's what we're trying to do, because that'll be, if it's on the same day of the week, it'll be the Tuesday right before the last Tuesday, which will be exciting. But yeah, I don't know. If you don't hate this, please tell us. I would like to know. If you have a better name to suggest than Legally Distinct Post-Game Lobby, that would also be really cool to do. I don't have anything else. Want in closing? Alright.
Bye, chat!